Full name, date of birth?
Eric Sampson.
All right, Mr. Sampson, you were previously charged with unlawful failure to return rented property, a Class 5 felony, and possession of narcotic drugs, a Class 6 felony. There was a not guilty arraignment hearing scheduled on August 16th. You failed to appear. They issued a warrant for your arrest, a $750 bond on one arrest warrant, and the other was a $1,700 bond. Your next court date in those matters will be August 30th at 8:30, Superior Court, downtown Phoenix. And the reason that you are here at this time is because you were arrested yesterday and charged with possession of dangerous drugs. I appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. Your problem is, under Arizona law, if you're arrested, charged with a felony, and released, which you were on the two cases that you bench warranted on, and while you're on that release, you are arrested and charged with committing a new felony, you cannot be released on bond or otherwise until that case is resolved. So you'll be held without bond at least until your next court date, which will be August 30th at 8:30, and the new case also. And your order is right over there. Everything I told, and everything you hear me say is printed on that form. Dates, times, places. There you go. Richard Olivas, and then it will be Autumn Peace. Full name, date of birth, please.
Richard Adrian Olivas.
All right, Mr. Olivas, you've had two felony convictions here in Maricopa County that you're on probation for. They contend you violated conditions of probation. On August 15th, a warrant for your arrest was issued in each case. One with a $50 cash only bond, and the other with just a $250 regular bond. Your next court date in these matters will be your revocation arraignment hearing, Superior Court, downtown Phoenix, August 30th at 8:30, and your order's right over there. Autumn Peace, and then it will be Fard Farrakhan. Full name, date of birth, please.
Autumn Peace.
All right, ma'am, you are on felony probation here in Maricopa County, and a warrant for your arrest was issued on May 22nd with a $250 bond. Your next court date in that matter will be August 30th at 8:30, Superior Court, downtown Phoenix. And the reason you are here at this time is that you were arrested earlier today and charged with possession of dangerous drugs, a Class 4 felony, possession of drug paraphernalia, Class 6 felony. I appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you in that case. I set a $50 bond in that case in case that you are not able to bond out on the other case. You'll make your court dates. We'll be responsible for your making court dates on the new arrest charge, and you get credit for the time you're in on this case. August 30th at 8:30, Superior Court in downtown Phoenix is your next court date in that matter also. And your order's right over there. Fard Farrakhan, and then it'll be Christian Wilridge. Full name, date of birth?
Farrakhan.
All right, Mr. Farrakhan, you're on felony probation here in Maricopa County. On March 6th, the warrant for your arrest was issued with a $500 bond. Next court date, August 30th at 8:30, the Superior Court, downtown Phoenix, revocation arraignment hearing. Your order's right over there. Christian Wilridge. And then it will be Eric Alvarez. Full name, date of birth, please.
Christian Wilridge.
All right, you are here on two separate matters. Let's see here. You have a warrant out of Bisbee Justice Court for you failed to appear on a driving while under the influence charge. This warrant was issued on August 15th with a $2,500 bond. Your next court date in this matter will be in Bisbee Justice Court, August 28th at 8:30. And if you can't bond out, the sheriff from that county will pick you up and to make sure you make your court date in that matter. Then you also have another warrant from Bisbee Justice Court. This warrant was issued at the same time with a $2,500 bond. You are charged in that case with aggravated DUI with a passenger under the age of 15. $2,500 bond in that case, August 15th.
You said with a passenger?
It's alleged probably on the date. Let me see what the date of violation. Well, it doesn't have the date of violation on here. I don't have that in front of me. Let me go back and see. Yeah, it is. If you're driving while under the influence with a passenger under the age of 15 in your vehicle, well, I don't know what else to tell you. That's what you charge.
No, I didn't have one. That's
well, okay, and I don't know what to tell you. I don't know anything about the case except the nature of the charge, when the warrant was issued, and the bond amount, and when your next court date is. I don't know what else to tell you.
Thank you.
There you go,
so
over there.
25,000 or 2,500?
Well, I saw 25,000 on my.
Yeah,
let me go. Did I? Okay, let me go back and make sure. Hold on. Let me. I usually don't make that comment. Yeah, 1 second. 1 second. That's a lot. I know. It is 25,000.
Yeah. So one for 2,500 and one for 2,500.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little crazy, but that's what they do.
No.
All right, Eric Alvarez, and then it'll be Lionel Sosi. Full name, date of birth, please. Full name, date of birth.
Eric George Alvarez, February.
All right, you were arrested yesterday, charged with the offenses of possession of a weapon by a prohibited person, class 4 felony, and resisting arrest with passive resistance. That's a misdemeanor. Public Defender's Office appointed to represent you. You told the officer that you are still on parole. Is that correct?
No, I didn't tell the officers anything.
Well, that's what the police report said that you told him. Now, maybe he made it up, but you were released recently from the Arizona State Prison, and and sometimes when you're released from custody, the case is kind of closed if you don't do anything and beyond a certain date, which I believe in this case was sometime in September. The reason I'm asking you is because you would be released if you weren't going to wind up having the DOC place a hold on you for violating conditions of parole. If you're sure that you aren't on parole, you're sure you're not. Yeah, and the officer was wrong when he says you told him that you were on parole.
Your Honor, I never once told the officer I was on parole.
Okay. Are you on parole?
Yes.
All right. Then I don't know where he came up with that crazy idea. Well, the reason how I construct this release order depends upon whether you are or you aren't, because they will usually place a hold on you, which has not been done yet, but in the next 24 hours or so it will be. So what I did is I was going to release you on supervised release, but because you're on parole and they're very likely to put a hold on you, I set bond in the amount of $50. You can post that and get out. And I put, if you are released, you're to be supervised by your parole officer, but you have to post $50 to get out. That's what we do in cases like this where the hold has not been placed yet. if I released you, then this order, 9 times out of 10, when you're on probation or parole, they place a hold before you can get out. And
Right.
it's, okay, so there you go.
I understand.
So if they haven't placed a hold on you and you have $50, you're out. But you need to contact your parole officer, all right?
I did that already.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, and did the parole officer tell you what they're gonna do?
She just said, if I'm to be released or if I had to make bail to go see her on Tuesday. She doesn't come back
all
to
right.
work.
I'll keep the bond at $50. You post $50, you get out. Your next court date is August 30th at 8:30. There you go.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Lionel Sosi, and then it'll be Pedro Garcia. Full name, date of birth, please.
Lionel Sosi.
All right, Mr. Sosi, you're here on 2 separate matters. You have a DUI case from July of 2014 that you still haven't paid the bond on, according to the North Mesa Justice Court docket. This is your 4th arrest. This warrant was issued on January 20th of 2023, over a year and a half ago, with a $500 bond. I'm going to keep it in place. Your next court date will be August 27th at 1 p.m. in North Mesa Justice Court, unless you bond out. I see that you have a good job. You don't want to lose your job.
Yes.
If you can post the $500, that will probably go towards whatever fine you still owe. Then you were arrested earlier today and charged with DUI. Driving on a misdemeanor and having an open container of alcohol in your vehicle. I set a $50 bond on that case. You would have been released but for the other arrest warrant. Your next court date in that case will be in El Centro Justice Court on August 28th. If you can afford to post the $500, you can probably post the $50 also for the new arrest. Make sure you show up for the post of bonds, okay? But the main reason that I'm keeping the bond in place is because it's like let's see, when did I say that was? It was, it's a 10-year-old case. They're still trying to collect money from you, the fine, and this is the 4th time you've been arrested. So, there you go. Your order's right over there. Pedro Garcia, and then it'll be Brandon Burnett, or Burtnett. Full name, date of birth, please.
Pedro Garcia, 0.
All right, Mr. Garcia, you, let me get your case up here. It didn't show. There we go. You were arrested earlier today and charged with unlawful flight from law enforcement in a motor vehicle. That's a Class 5 felony. I appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. I'm going to follow the recommendation of pretrial services and release you subject to supervised release. Your next court date will be September 9th at 8:30 in Superior Court in downtown Phoenix. On the release order will be the phone number of pretrial services. Within a few days of your release, call that number and touch base with them. They're expecting you to do that, all right?
How much days?
Huh?
How many days do I get?
You don't get any days. You're going to be released.
No, how many days do I get to call them before I call them?
Just within the next 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah. They expect you to call them. That's it. Everything I told you is on that order.
Thank you.
Brandon Burtnett, and then it'll be Angie Armenta. Full name, date of birth, please.
Brandon Mark Burton, April.
All right, you, sir, were arrested and charged yesterday with unlawful use of means of transportation. A Class 5 felony. I appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. I'm releasing you on your own recognizance to appear on September 9th at 8:30 in Superior Court in downtown Phoenix. Because of the nature of your relationship to the alleged victim, You're not to initiate contact with the victim or any witnesses, do you understand? And if an order of protection is filed, you must comply with its conditions. All right, there you go. Thank you. Right over there. Angie Armenta, and then it will be Robbie Welsh. Full name, date of birth, please.
Hello, sir. Angie Armenta.
All right. You were previously charged with possession of narcotic drugs, a Class 4 felony, possession of drug paraphernalia, Class 6. You didn't show up for
I was incarcerated. I'm sorry.
You what?
After I left here from my court, I got arrested. Mesa picked me up, and I was in Florence for about 3 weeks.
All right. Well, pretrial services apparently confirmed that because they recommend that you be released on supervised release, which is what I'm going to do. And your next court date will be September 9th at 8:30 in Superior Court in downtown Phoenix. If I were you, first off, contact pretrial services by phone within a few days of your release. Their numbers on the release order, but also bring the paperwork that confirms that you were in custody somewhere else. All right?
Okay.
There you
so
go.
I'm being released from here.
You are being released.
Thank you.
Robbie Welsh, and then it'll be Jeffrey Schuler. Full name, date of birth, please.
Robbie Welsh,
All right, Mr. Welsh. Hold on a second here. I'm on the wrong page. All right. You were arrested. Let me get the first case up here. You were arrested yesterday, charged with the following: 1 county's possession of drug paraphernalia, Class 6 felony, carrying a deadly weapon and failing to admit it to law enforcement, a misdemeanor, and obstruction by refusing to give correct name. Initially, that is a misdemeanor. The public defender's office appointed to represent you. I'm going to release you on supervised release to appear in Superior Court, downtown Phoenix, September 9th at 8:30. Call pretrial services within a few days of your release at the phone number that's on your release order. They just want to touch base with you then. You also have another case pending. By direct complaint, the county attorney's office has charged you. This is alleged to have occurred on October 15th of 2022. Possession of dangerous drugs, a Class 4 felony. Possession of narcotic drugs, a Class 4 felony. And possession of drug paraphernalia, Class 6 felony. In that case, I am releasing you also on your own recognizance, appointing the public defender's office to represent you. September 9th at 8:30 is your next court date in that matter also. All right? Your orders are right over there. Jeffrey Schuler. And then, full name, date of birth.
Jeffrey Scott Schuler.
All right, Mr. Schuler, you were arrested earlier today, charged with possession of dangerous drugs, a Class 4 felony, possession of drug paraphernalia, Class 6. I appoint the public defender's office to represent you. You are being released on supervised release to appear in Superior Court on September 9th at 8:30, downtown Phoenix. There's a phone number, as you've heard me mention, for pretrial services on your release order. Within a few days, call them and touch base with them, okay?
Thank you.
Your order's right over there.
I'm wonderful.
Full name, date of birth? And your full name?
Jose Luis Gonzalez Garcia.
All right, you, sir, were arrested on the 24th, yesterday, charged with aggravated assault, adult on a minor, a Class 6 felony, and obstruction by refusing to give correct name, a Class 2 misdemeanor. I appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. There are statements from victims that are part of the file at this time. I am setting a $10,000 secured appearance bond. You're not to return to the scene of where this crime is alleged to have occurred, have any contact with victims or witnesses. Your next court date will be August 30th at 8:30 in Superior Court in downtown Phoenix. All right?
I have a question.
Huh?
For the last 3 years, I don't work. I have no money.
I know, but what you did
What can I do?
what you did was sufficiently serious that I consider you, if you decide to start drinking again, especially a threat to the community. Whether your family wants you out on the loose will depend upon whether or not they will post a $10,000 bond. Your next court date, which is August 30th, which is just 5 days away, will, at that time, you have an attorney appointed to represent you, and he or she can request that the conditions of release be modified. And that is not unusual to have them change at your next court appearance. But I have no control over that, and based upon the information I have, I'm going to keep it at $10,000. And your order's right over there. All right. Ivan Sells.
Yes, go. Yes, go. Have a seat in the back row. Here, I'll take that. Thank you. That's good.
Full name, date of birth.
Ivan Sells.
All right, Mr. Sells, you have an arrest warrant that was issued out of the state of New Mexico on July 31st. Are you on probation or parole there?
No.
Okay. Well, the thing is, the information I'm given doesn't state what any conditions of release are, which usually they don't do that if they expect you to be held without bond. Did you read the paperwork we gave you to read?
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any questions after reading it?
The officer kind of explained to me already about it.
Okay. Well, he didn't have that with him. You had this today. Did you read and understand that?
I read it, but I didn't really understand.
Okay. Do you have questions? Well, let me explain some things to you that might answer the obvious questions you have. This is a civil proceeding. It's not a criminal proceeding, so you're not entitled to have an attorney appointed to represent you, but you can hire your own attorney if you choose. The only thing they have to prove to extradite you is, number one, there's a valid warrant, and number two, you're the person named in the warrant. It's pretty easy. If you want to fight extradition, the states of Arizona and New Mexico have up to 90 days to complete extradition proceedings. But then, the only thing they have to prove is what I just told you. Is there a valid warrant? Is Mr. Sells the person named in the warrant? If you want to waive extradition, the state of New Mexico must pick you up within 30 days, day one being tomorrow. If they haven't picked you up, we will release you, but the warrant will still be out there. New Mexico is pretty good about picking up people here because they're next door. I don't know. I know from the information we got that it's a serious offense, but they didn't state a bond amount, and that's more often than not, that's their way of communicating hold without bond, but I'm not going to do that because in Arizona, we don't do those things. So what I'm going to do is, if you want to fight this and not waive extradition, I will set a $10,000 bond, and your next court date will be September 9th at 1:30 in Superior Court in downtown Phoenix, which is what we normally do if somebody hasn't resolved their extradition matter by waiving extradition. If you want to waive extradition, you don't have to make a decision today. You can wait and talk to somebody or the judge at your next court appearance, which will be September 9th, downtown Phoenix. Do you have any questions? By the way, there aren't any easy answers because one of two things is going to happen. You're going to be held without bond for 30 days, or if you want to fight this matter, you're going to have to post a $10,000 bond to get out. So.
Is it secured or cash?
Well, I usually set just a secured bond because they do a pretty good job of keeping track of people. The bonding companies do. So, do you have any questions? And you don't have to make your decision today. The next court appearance, you can decide if you want to waive extradition, you can. You've just lost towards the 30 days, you've lost between whatever the number of days are between today and September 9th. You know what you want to do? That's what I meant, but there are no easy answers.
Yeah. So.
Most people are in your situation. They just sit there in their brain and God, there must be some decision I can make here that's better than the other, but they're just as simple as I've told you.
So
you know what you want to do?
So I'm going to be leaving my job?
If you can post $10,000 and get out, yeah. I don't know what else to tell you. If you post the money and you get out, make sure you show up on the date that's we give you, or they'll issue another warrant for you, number one. And number two, maybe you can somehow or other reconcile this matter. Have an attorney, if you have an attorney appointed to represent you in New Mexico, probably, have them try and work something out. But those are things beyond my control. And yes, if you're in custody, you obviously, I don't know what your job is, but you can't work. And in most people, that would cost them their job. So you know what you want to do? Because if you don't know, I'm going to just put down, you choose not to waive your right to extradition, and you'll be held on $10,000 bail until your next court date, September 9th. Is that what you want? You want a coin to flip?
It's kind of hard to answer.
What's that?
It's kind of hard to answer.
I know that. But we can't spend all day here on this case. We have to get on to some other cases, and what I usually do if somebody can't make up their mind, I just put, you can always waive, but I'll put at this stage, you haven't made a decision, you don't waive, a $10,000 bond will be set, and your next court date will be September 9th.
All right.
Is that what you want? Okay. All right, hold on here. Does not choose. Yeah, one of the things that is a secured appearance bond. One you can get through a bonding company. Next court date will be September 9th in Superior Court in downtown Phoenix. And we'll give you, go have a seat, and we'll give you your release order in just a minute, okay? We've got to print it up.